Welcome to this unboxing video of the new Keller Toys Big Daddy and Giant Haystacks figures. When I was a kid and I used to collect the WWF Hasbro figures, everybody of a certain age, when I said I like wrestling or they saw my toys, used to say to me, have you got a Big Daddy figure? Have you got a Giant Haystacks? And I'd look at them sort of quizzically and go, no, that's not really my thing. It's Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior. I'll be honest, I never thought I would have figures of these guys, but they are, I think, pretty good. Let's get into them and have a look. They are just released from Keller. I've opened the Big Daddy already, but we'll open Haystacks here. And they've got the nice retro style cards. You know, they are like the Hasbro cards. That's what everybody's going to with these retro sets. And there's quite a bit of detail in these ones. So there's a variant, there's a brown variant of this. I've gone for the blue one. And as you can see, pretty decent figure. Doesn't turn, it's solid, but he's a good size. Nice cape. Quite like his face. Bit of detail on the boots as well. Now there's no spring action on these two. And there's Big Daddy with his golden hat. Bit youthful he looks there, doesn't he? But it's nice, you can tell who it is. Partly because it says his name on there, to be fair. Similarly, no spring action. Head actually doesn't turn. The body doesn't turn either. Nice sequin cape. They're simply made. They are simply made, but I actually rather like them. And we compare them to some of the others on the market. We can do that now. So here's another Keller. That's the Paul Meccano Keller figure, which is a slightly baffling figure to me. I really like it, but this is the one that's sort of very rubbery, much more sort of vinyl. Again, no spring action on those. And the Dynamite Kid, that's the other Keller. I think they're pretty decent figures. And if you compare them to the Zombie Sailor figure, so there's a Zombie Sailor Dino Bravo. Again, no spring action, but a good looking figure. And Earl Hebner goes in there too. Let's make sure you can actually see those. And let's just put a couple more in and let's compare and contrast. So these are the new Mattels. That's the Heart Foundation Brett from the latest Mattel line. And a good old-fashioned Mr. Perfect from the Hasbro line, with slightly worn spring action. Now, I actually think all of these figures are a good addition to this size line, but they have their pros and cons, as I'm sure you'd agree. I think size-wise, they're a bit up and down, but generally speaking, I think they're in good scale. I think they all work together. They certainly work together if you're photographing them together. I think, would we have liked that spring action? Would we have liked them to be a bit more Hasbro-like? Yes, but I'm sure that comes down to cost of manufacture. One of the great things for me about the Keller toys is the fact that they are slightly cheaper, and maybe that is because I'm here in the UK and the shipping doesn't cost as much. But in the Zombie Sailor, you can see there is more detail on these, definitely. They are a more detailed, more of a collector's item. But for me, that means I can buy fewer of them. I have to pick and choose which ones I want to buy. The thing about the Keller toys is, at around about £20, I can buy one and think, well, maybe I won't keep it, maybe I'll sell it on. It's not quite as big a financial commitment. So financially, I'm much more likely to pick up the Keller toy figures. The Zombie Sailors, you know, I'm going to pick the ones that I really want. I wanted Earl Hebner, I needed Dino Bravo. I think the Kellers are much more like toys than collector's items, you know. But there's a funness to them that I think the Hasbro's had too. So it kind of depends on what you're after. If you're after a really, really definitive collector's piece, as people like to say, then probably the Zombie Sailor toys are the ones you're going to go after. But, you know, a Big Daddy figure, it looks like him, it's clearly him, wasn't too expensive, it goes with the Hasbro's. I don't know what else you're asking for, really. I think that's really good. It's great that Wrestling Trader have taken over and are continuing the Keller toys, and I think it might be that the production values, if you like, increase a bit in the future. One of the tests is if you compare them to the Hasbro figures. I mean, I absolutely love these figures, but you've got to be honest. Okay, this is a slightly worn Mr. Perfect figure. They're not necessarily the most lovingly crafted figures, whether it's repeated parts, whether it's slightly dodgy paintwork. You know, they were pretty basically made. Yes, this one's a pretty good likeness of Curt Hennig. It's a pretty good figure, but generally speaking, they're fun rather than perfect.